Hello and welcome to Pick Central, Barstool's daily sports gambling show where all the best sports gamblers in this world get together and give you our expertise, our wit, our handsomeness, and our charm. And if that's what you come here for, any of that, you're in the wrong place. Because we are terrible sports gamblers, we're all ugly, we're quite stupid, and we're just doing the best we can. So today, I'm very, very excited because finally, we have kicked out these fake acting, stupid-ass New Yorkers. We don't have to do the suckbags, and we don't have to do all the Yankee shit. We just get to talk sports. It's the first time, I believe, we've ever done this. I'm Brandon Walker. To my right is Ben Mintz. It's just us, just the Southern boys. How do you feel about that?
I feel great. I love getting to ride along as Mr. Walker's co-pilot today. It's going to be a lot of fun. Huge day of conference tournament action. Excited. We've already got, I guess, Syracuse-Cincy State about to kick off. And, yeah, thrilled to be in here.
It's these days that remind me of being like a kid as a sports fan and why I fell in love with this stuff in the first place because you're from the South as well. We have early spring breaks down there. I just remember growing up and the first week of the NCAA tournament, obviously this is conference tournament week, but the first week of the NCAA tournament was always our spring break. So I would just be at home as a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old, 11-year-old, and I would be watching NCAA basketball all day. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And now being able to watch college basketball at 12 in a workday makes me feel like home.
Yeah, I was kind of sharing this yesterday. When I was 13, the one I remember watching the most was when the Big East tourney was Ray Allen, Iverson, Kittles, John Wallace. I watched every single one of those games. I used to watch the conference tournaments, all day. And this does remind me of being a kid. And we're very, very lucky that we have a job. We're getting to watch these games.
Exceptionally lucky. I am very conference tournaments are some of the best things to attend as well. And I know you attend a lot of sporting events.
I've done the SEC tourney a few times.
I love just going and sitting in a seat and just having basketball played before me all day. And the Wednesday's good. We'll have a lot of ACC today. We'll have a lot of other. But Thursday, to me, is when it really ramps up. And I believe the Thursday of conference tournament weeks is when March really becomes March.
Oh, yeah, and if you like to gamble, nothing beats the first round of the NCAA tournament, but this is probably second because there are just so many games to choose from. When you get into the quarterfinals of Big 12, Big 10, ACC, SEC, it's insane.
Yeah, I love it, and we actually have NC State and Syracuse that's popping off right now on the TV in front of us. Just to go ahead and start the show with an early play so you guys can follow along if you're watching our show or if you're watching, ESPN or ACC Network, whatever it's on. I got Syracuse -2.5. I got on that early. I put that in on the train this morning. And what have you got on this?
So I went NC State +3, but I actually liked Syracuse a day or two ago and flipped. So I don't really know what that means. This game, I kind of just decided Syracuse played so much better in the Carrier Dome at home. This game being in North Carolina, I think that's may slightly favor NC State. NC State just getting 3 points feels like a game that go either way, so I'm just taking the points.
Yeah, it does. And it's weird because a lot of these games today, some of the lines feel like, and not this one, but some of the lines in these conference tournaments feel like they might be based on some sort of crowd advantage. Like Vanderbilt, a slight favorite over A&M today because of a perceived crowd advantage. I don't think there's going to be anybody there. I don't think there's going to be any advantage for Vanderbilt. I think that's somewhere you can find value in these places. Like these, you say they're in Greensboro, so you would bet on a North Carolina team, but I don't know that there's going to be an actual home field advantage there.
No, I don't know if it's going to be a home field. I just feel like Syracuse is used to playing in that dome, and that was a big part of their advantage. But the Vandy thing, they have an advantage when they play in that weird-ass gym they got in Nashville where the players are sitting on the baselines and stuff, but in the Nashville Gaylord Arena, I don't think it's going to matter.
So Christian Bond says, someone was from North Carolina when the teacher turned on the ACC tournament in the middle of class. I don't know if you ever did that, but we actually –
I got a great story.
Growing up in Mississippi, I don't remember them because we always had spring break, but I remember listening to the SEC baseball tournament in class. And when I was in 6th grade, we were listening to Mississippi State playing Vanderbilt or something.
Wow, that's cool.
Or maybe it was LSU. No, it was Alabama. I remember it was Mississippi State against Alabama, and I remember that vividly growing up. But I never really remember watching the NCAA tournament or the conference tournaments at school.
Well, I got caught one time in my 6th period. I had this nun teacher for advanced math, and a Kentucky game was in overtime in the first round of the tournament, and I was following it somehow. And I was like, I got to do anything I can to get out of this class to see the end of this game. So I broke an ink pen on myself just like saying, "Oh, sister, my ink pen broke. I got to go wash my hands and go to the bathroom." And she walks over and goes, "I know exactly what you're trying to do to go watch the end of that game. You're sitting in that desk with ink all over you the rest of the class." And I just sat there.
No, you're just sitting there with ink
yeah,
all
I just
over
got
yourself.
ink like a black
The joke's
kid.
on you.
Yeah. It was a nun that called me.
Yeah,
out.
she seems a little sharper than most teachers.
Yeah, she owned me.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I didn't realize you went to Catholic school.
Oh yeah, I did, St. Fred's. But
I didn't know we had Catholic schools down there. I guess there's a couple in
Louisiana.
In like Southwest Mississippi, there's some.
Yeah, Louisiana. Well, South Louisiana big, but there's a lot of Catholics around Louisiana. But it was pretty bad when I sat there in shame though. That's
Somebody says this is like David Banner and Big Crit levels of Mississippi domination. Yeah. Several other rappers you could have used. Ray Sremmerd is from Tupelo.
Afro Man.
Afro Man, yeah. Remember Afro Man? How when he got big?
Oh yeah, I went to frat parties when he was.
He's still doing frat parties down there. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. No, I love that.
Colt 45 and 2 zigzags.
Please take me home to Mississippi.
Yeah, please take. Yep. Colt 45 and 2 zigzags, baby. That's all we need. We can go to the park after dark.
Smoke the tumbleweed.
Yep. There you go.
There you go.
Okay, so we got plenty of college basketball to talk about. I got like 30 picks from you guys on the clubhouse beforehand. I'd like for us to go ahead. It's just me and you. And I feel like we get bogged down when there's 4 or 5 of us. I just want to pick a national champ today. By the end of the show, I want to pick a national champ. Because I have 2 that I am really leaning towards. And I think
I've got one figure. I know I want.
In my heart of hearts, we'll start with this. In my heart of hearts, I don't think anybody's going to beat Gonzaga. I think you can beat them for 30 minutes. I think you can beat them for 28 minutes. You can beat them for 32 minutes like BYU did. I don't know that anybody can beat them for 40 minutes because by the end of that game, which BYU dominated, they were sucking wind and they were getting their ass kicked at the end.
The performance of Jalen Suggs was insane last night.
I just think Gonzaga for 40 minutes, I don't know that anybody can put together 40 minutes to beat that team. And I know they haven't technically played anybody, which is what Marty says all the time. I think they played enough, and I think talent-wise, I would pick 2 teams to win this national title. I think Gonzaga and Michigan. Those are the 2 teams. You give me those 2 teams, and you can have the field as far as I'm concerned.
See, I'm kind of – I don't know if it's buying low on Michigan, but I think this is the time to get on them after the loss at Michigan State and rivalry game, and then they had the home loss to Illinois. I think people have kind of gotten thrown off the trail of them, and I think they're very legitimate, and they're kind of who I like.
You like Michigan?
Yeah.
I like Michigan. I like Gonzaga first. I like Michigan second. I might put both in depending on what you can get. I think you're going to get much more than – what are you going to get on Gonzaga? Plus 250, plus 300?
I mean, it ain't great. To win 6 games in a row on neutral floor.
It's not going to be great. But I think, if it wins, it's great, right? It doesn't matter what the odds are really as long as you get it. Skip Sven says, went to Afro Man in a dive bar in North Dakota like 3 years ago. Might have been the best show I've been to.
Love that.
Yeah, a dive bar in North Dakota. I've been to North Dakota.
Have you?
Yeah, I've been to Fargo.
Okay.
Went to
I've
Fargo.
always heard it's good.
I went to Fargo for an American Legion baseball tournament. And it was very, very windy. It was like 40-mile-an-hour winds. You know what North Dakota has that you don't expect? We get out of the South. We think we own the market on like mosquitoes and shit.
Oh, wow.
North Dakota, huge mosquito state.
I wouldn't have thought that.
You wouldn't have thought that.
No.
Gigantic
Were you up in the
state.
mountains in Fargo or no?
There are no mountains in Fargo,
Okay,
buddy. It's
okay.
flat as it can be. I don't think North Dakota has mountains. I think that
I'm thinking of
Montana. Yeah. Would you rather be a no-name bench player on your favorite team or be the all-star of Mississippi Valley State, says Mike David? So would you rather be the 12th bench guy on Ole Miss that never gets minutes, or would you rather be the star player at Mississippi Valley State?
I think I'd rather be the star.
I would definitely rather be the star.
I mean, that's just like you're on the bench.
Basically what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
We're the star of Mississippi Valley State on this show.
There you go.
Yeah, I would rather.
Nobody's
going to
remember the bench guy.
Correct. All right, so we're off to a pretty good start. 5-5 here. All right, we got plenty of stuff. I do want to talk about more about that national championship stuff. This is the most wide open tournament of my life. I look at the list of the last 10 champs. None of them really have a chance. We're going to have a new champ, it feels like. We'll get into that. I want to talk more about Les Miles at Kansas.
Yeah, I got a lot to say.
Yesterday, I feel like that we're in March, right? And I feel like we get bogged down so much in March Madness talk and all that, and we talk about college basketball a little too much. I'd like to talk about all sports. And Les Miles getting fired at Kansas, or mutually agreeing to part ways at Kansas, is a bigger story than we gave credit for yesterday, because this is a sitting college football coach in March. That doesn't happen. Is no longer going to be the coach. Now, I know it's Kansas, but Les Miles' career, Les Miles, a one-time national champion, a two-time national finalist, his career is over.
Done.
His career is finished, and he is I wouldn't say he's one of the best coaches in the country, but he was still one of the biggest name coaches. And when he went to Kansas 2 years ago, we assumed he would get them to at least competitive. He never did that, and now his career has ended in shame. My issue is, why isn't LSU getting more pushback on this? LSU had the report in 2013. Kansas presumably did a background check, and LSU never told them. That's what I'm picking up from this.
Well, I know that the guy who was president back then at LSU is a guy named F. King Alexander, who's at Oregon State now, and he did not do a very good job. And Joe Oliva, who was the embattled athletic director for LSU, who was the Duke lacrosse scandal back in the day, he wrote that letter, and it was documented saying, we have just cause to fire Les Miles. People will support us publicly because of what he did. We should do this right now. And it got squashed.
He wrote that letter in June of 2013. They didn't. This was when they found out. The athletic department knew that he was doing inappropriate things with females, inviting students to his condo, and for 3 years he remained their coach while they knew that. And it wasn't until he started 2-2 and lost to Auburn in 2016. It wasn't until on the field he wasn't as good as they wanted him to be that they fired him. It's kind of sick if you think about it.
And they were supposed to fire him in 15, and then they beat A&M, and the damn team carried him on their shoulders off the stadium at Tiger Stadium. They won like 19-7, and then the press conference like, oh, he's still our coach.
So I want to talk more sports. We're gonna circle back to sports, but here's the thing. Ever since Ben Mintz started, and we do play up the Mississippi State-Ole Miss rivalry a little bit because I hate his school, he hates mine. Fine, whatever. We're not actual personal rivals, though, even though they put us together in ping pong yesterday. I still don't know why, because you're a much better ping pong player than I am. But we're not actual rivals because I feel like we respect that we came from the same spot. I was I was kind of I wasn't unemployed. I was only making about $100,000. But I was down in Mississippi a couple of years ago, and Dave found me, and then you were down in Louisiana last year, and he found you. But today is a very special anniversary for you, and I'd like for you to bring that up.
Well, yeah, I think, Brandon, that you mentioned the mutual respect. I think you and I both had to grind for a long time on the South, tough media, where, I mean, it was no joke. It's hard. I mean, look at this industry. It's hard to hold jobs, and we both, you were Tupelo, I was Bossier. I mean, we grinded. I think being older, we really appreciate this. And, so 1 year ago, I was
1 year ago today.
1 year ago today, literally. So I was the Drive Time Sports Radio host for Shreveport, Bossier, Louisiana, which is a 250,000-person market, pretty good market to start out with, for 4 years and 3 months. And on this day, March 10th, 2020, there was a conference call at like 9 a.m. where my GM says, we're making some changes. The word you never want to hear in radio is reformat change. They were changing the station from sports to soft rock. And they told me that, and when they actually told me that, you would think I would have been mad, but I really had thought I'd done 4 years there. I'd built it. I knew 7 people.
So you thought, okay, I'll just play some Hall & Oates and some Air Supply, and I'll be fine, some Journey?
Yeah, well, kind of. Well, I thought, I'd been there. Look, I knew 7 people when I moved to Shreveport in December of 2015, and I had no work experience. And I built it. Look, I wasn't a juggernaut, but I built it into something. And I thought I'd done all I could do there, and that was going to be my last year. So in my head, I'm like, well, this sucks to get let go, but I probably did everything I could here anyway, and had the positive attitude about it. The funny thing was it was supposed to be Playboy Marty's first day as my producer that day. And when I called him and told him I got let go, he almost had a panic attack.
Really? He didn't take it well.
No, he didn't take it well at all.
So you took it in stride, though. You got fired a year ago today.
Yeah, and well, the thing was, though, I was already doing stuff for ESPN Baton Rouge on the side and had a lot of relationships with them. And so I felt like that was going to lead to a job. And in the next 24 to 48 hours, I had like 4 job offers lined up. And then the world shut down for COVID Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah.
And so all of them disappeared. And I actually took a job offer from ESPN Baton Rouge 10 minutes before first pitch of Ole Miss UL Monroe, a baseball game I was at last year, and then it disappeared on Wednesday. But the funniest thing is, though, the company I work for, Cumulus, has basically been kicked off the penny stock exchange. And now you look at I need to do a graph of Penn Barstool stock versus Cumulus stock. They're like the joke of media.
Well, Cumulus ain't that bad of a company. They're okay. They're out there. They're doing some good things. Just
fair enough.
Fair enough. Yeah. So
fair enough. I had great 4 years working for them.
Yeah. They're so that's the thing about working in print media and radio. You can be doing the best job you know how to do. You can be everything can be swimming along perfectly, and then somebody upstairs decides, nope, we're going to go another direction, and you're just assed out. You're just sitting there. You can be as talented a guy in the world, and it does not matter. It's a helpless feeling. The thing about you, Ben, is something that A, annoys me, and B, draws me to you is no matter what happens, you're very positive. I don't understand that mindset. I'm not capable of it. But the fact that you got fired, and now a year later you sit here is a testament to your positive vibes and all that.
I really appreciate that. I know it comes off as like overwhelming sometimes, but I don't know. I've gone through a lot in life, and I think I've learned a lot from my mistakes, and I've made about 1 million of them. And I think that's the thing. I think I've overcome a lot, and so I try to help others.
We have a very similar path, and I've never really gotten into much of my path before Barstool. Everybody knows I had such a famous hiring that people just think that was the start of Brandon Walker experience. Well, it wasn't. I was the podcast editor and an editor for Florida and Tennessee coverage at SEC Country in Atlanta.
Okay.
For 2 years up until 2018, and then May 23rd, 2018. Cox Media, which owned the company, said, you know what, we're going to shut this company down. It's making money, but not as much as we wanted to. And they shut us down, just 100 people out of work. And I have a soldier for a wife. And she said, we'll just go, I'll get a professor job. We'll go back to Mississippi, and we're going to reinvest in your job. We're going to get you restarted. And so we went back. I started doing podcasts. I started doing all this stuff on the side, and then it all led to Dave. But we've both been through the wars. We've both been through there. And a year ago today, you got fired, and that would end a lot of 36-year-olds. That would make them, I don't know. You start driving a truck, you start doing this, you start doing that, but ultimately, you just keep fucking going.
Oh, yeah. No, and I think your thing, though, that's more impressive to me is you mentioned your wife, because you got 4 kids and a wife.
Right.
Like, I'm a single dude out. Even if I'm poor and unemployed, like, whatever. I'm just myself running around. I'll get by. The fact you were able to do it with the family.
Well, here's the thing about that.
That's a big different story.
2 years ago when he gave me the opportunity to work at Barstool, it was a no-brainer. But then 3 months later when he said you can work in New York, that I had to really think about it. And I took a risk moving my whole family to New Jersey, and I'm not sure I made the right decision. I don't know that my kids are better off. Now, my career is going to be better off in the long run, and hopefully that means we're all better off financially eventually. But you just have to do it. You just have to grind, and when the door opens, jump through that motherfucker.
Yeah, and I had a similar when Dave, he told me when they were hiring me that I could stay in the South or I could move up here. He said he'd pay.
You have to move.
No, yeah. And I thought about it for a day, and I remember my instincts were at first I was living with Marty, and I said, maybe I could stay down here and do that. And then it was like a day later, I'm like, that's the shittiest attitude you could have. Like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I've only been in New York one night in my life. To hell with it. Let's go.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out, and I stayed in the South and half-assed it, I'd never forgive myself.
I exact same way. I thought, when my contract expires in a year, if they don't see me, why would they sign me again? So I said, get up here and let them see me. Anyway, we're ball washing at this point.
Yeah, no, but it's been a journey. Though.
But the reason we were talking about that is because Ben put out today that it's been 1 year since he got fired from Bossier City, and in that year he has gone from going to Baton Rouge.
I went
ESPN,
to Oxford 3 months unemployed.
Going to Oxford unemployed, and then lightning strikes in the football season, and Dave offers him opportunity, and boom, 4 months later, he's in Manhattan. He's lost 25 pounds, and he's busting his ass. So I respect it. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I love hearing your old stories, too, because it's been some ride. Good start for Syracuse here so far for you.
Yeah, 17-11. I got Syracuse -2.5. Did you get in NC State? Or okay.
I got NC State at 3, but
I just like,
Syracuse, the team is tough in March.
Exactly. I like pedigree. I like pedigree in these tournaments. Like, I hate betting Duke, but Duke has pedigree in these tournaments. And Syracuse, NC State, which one has the tougher?
Michigan State, same way.
Which one has proven in these spots more? And it's just Syracuse. I don't really think there's anything about this team that's better than NC State's team. I just think Syracuse knows what to do when they get here. Michigan State's the same way. Speaking of pedigree, though, so I look at this tournament. I believe the tournament we're about to have, Selection Sunday on Sunday. That makes a lot of sense. It's going to be the most wide-open tournament that I can remember in my life because the Blue Bloods are not blue this year. Duke probably won't make it. Kentucky probably won't make it. Kansas will be there, but and North Carolina will be there, but like neither are top 10 national title contenders. I look at the last 10 years, the champions of college basketball. Villanova, without their best player, I don't think they're a national championship contender this year.
Either.
North Carolina, I don't think they're a national championship contender. Duke, I already said them. UConn, they're not a national title contender.
They are playing pretty good, though.
Louisville, I guess they're fringe. And then the only one that I think is possibly a contender, I think Virginia maybe is
another pedigree at this point.
is on the back edge of being a national title contender. Of the 8 to 10 teams that can win it, I think Virginia probably slides in there at the very, very end. So very possibly, likely even, we're going to have a new champ, whether that's Gonzaga, that's Baylor, that's Michigan, who's been close but has never gotten there. That's Oklahoma, that's Texas Tech. Like I'm skipping some teams, but you know what I'm saying. I love that. I love the fact that we've got new contenders. I do this wrestling show, and everybody's talking about they need to make new stars. Everybody's looking for the next big star. Well, we might make a new star in college basketball this year.
Look, I love that too, and I think you and I probably both love this. Just almost honestly, it's kind of like we support schools that don't always get to win, and I think it's good for sports when all fan bases get to have their day. I don't think it's great when Bama and the Patriots and everybody just keeps winning.
That's one of the things. The national title game in football this year, the main complaint was, it's just Alabama again. It's just Alabama again. Well, it's just them again because they've got the best program, they get the best players, they have the best coaches, so they deserve the championships, they deserve the success they get. But it's always fun to get a newcomer, and I think this tournament, I can't really place, we don't know who the Cinderellas are going to be yet. We don't know anything. It could be a blue blood that turns into the Cinderella. It could be a completely flipped equation this year.
Well, I think what could really be interesting is, like you said, the top teams are really good. Gonzaga, Baylor, Michigan. We got some solid ones. These 3 and 4 seeds are pretty vulnerable this year. I think all hell could break loose in these 3-14 and 4-13 and 5-12 games.
So there's some chats here, and I love reading the chat. So don't ever tell me not to read the chat. This is how I got hired here, by reading the chat. So I'm always going to do it. Kevin Martin says Illinois has plenty of pedigree. No, they really don't. I'm sorry, they don't. When's the last time Illinois won a national title? We're not talking about pretty good team pedigree. We're talking about national championship pedigree. Illinois doesn't have a lick of it. So don't say, they got this. No, they don't. If they win the national championship this year, they have taken their program from this level to this level.
I remember they had the Bill Self teams that were close.
2005.
Yeah, it was a while ago, but that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was it. They had those teams.
D. Brown.
Frank Williams.
Frank Williams.
Yeah, Frank Williams, the point guard, too. And
no, not
Darren
Frank
Williams was after him, too, yeah.
It wasn't Frank Williams. It was Darren Williams.
Yeah, I think they were back-to-back point guards.
Really?
Yeah.
But Frank Williams, it was Darren Williams that was
it was the superstar.
Luther Head, right? Luther Head, too?
Yes. I remember they had Bryant Cook. Cook could shoot. He was like a long shooter forward.
Yeah.
But they were good. No, they were really, really good teams. But overall, as far as consistent powerhouse program, they've been anything but it.
I think I think that Illinois team, 2005, outside of Kentucky, 2015, Illinois might have been the best team in the last 20 years not to win a national title.
I remember their Arizona Elite Eight game was insane when they came back.
Oh, it was insane. That was probably the national championship game that year. Well, no, it wasn't because North Carolina won the national championship. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that North Carolina Illinois 2005 was incredible. 2004, it was the only year I won a bracket. I don't know how many brackets you've won. I've won like 5.
Nice, you done better than me then.
But that year I picked the entire Final Four, and it's the only time I've ever done.
That was Duke, UConn. I know that was
2004 was it was UConn, Georgia Tech, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Georgia Tech, Oklahoma State, and Duke. Duke, because that was the Chris Duhon half-court shot. Because I was a junior in college and didn't really have that much money, and somehow I had $500 on UConn by 1.5 and lost on that Duhon bank. I remember I collapsed into my buddy's couch.
Jonathan Brightsky says if Wieskamp is healthy, Iowa will make it to the Final Four. Too much shooting, and they have the best player in the country. They can't defend though. I don't love Iowa. Yeah, Iowa can make a run for sure. Anybody in the top 20 can make a run to this Final Four, maybe beyond. But I don't believe in Iowa. I think they're going to run into somebody that's probably tougher than them, more athletic than them, and can shut their scorers down. And Iowa's not going to have an answer because Iowa doesn't play defense.
No, it does concern me if they have an offensive night, they could lose at any time.
Duke 2019, best team ever not to win. You have 3 top 5 kids in the world. I don't consider that a great team, or as great of a team though, because they fell short of the Final Four. It was a great starting 5, but Krzyzewski did not coach that team well. He wasn't a good coach that year, so I don't think they're in the same class as 2015 Kentucky, who started 38-0.
Yeah,
and
I think Duke might have had the talent, but there's a difference between being the best team and the talent.
Their talent, their starting 5 might have been the greatest starting 5 of all time, but they had nothing behind them. And Krzyzewski, He was done by that point, and he just completely ruined that team. Iowa's coaches, their downfall, says FFS SLSS podcast. It plays his sons too much. I don't know if that's true.
I think he's doing a hell of a job
Yeah,
considering their tradition.
He's pretty good.
I mean, he's got them in the
pretty damn good. All right, so what else we got? We got plenty of things that we can talk about.
I have a gambling strategy thought.
I actually have a gambling strategy question, so I'm going to ask the question. We'll do that one, then we'll do your thought.
Okay.
No, we'll do your thought first, but let me say this. Tomorrow, if you're in the state of Illinois, if you're not in the state of Illinois, you need to get to Illinois. But tomorrow at noon, just under 24 hours from right now, 23 hours and 40 minutes from right when I speak, the Barstool Sportsbook, the greatest sportsbook app in the world, goes live in Illinois. It's our third state. We've already taken over Pennsylvania. We're kicking ass in Michigan, and we're about to come fuck your bitches in Illinois. The Barstool Sportsbook coming to Illinois tomorrow. The boys will be there in Chicago tomorrow. Marty, Rico, I believe Dan's going to be in Chicago. Dave's going to be in Chicago. All Chicago boys. I'll be there next week. I'm staying home to mind the house this week. Please don't make fun of me about it. I'm here to host Pick Central and get everything to the weekend. They'll be in Chicago. They'll be streaming. It'll be great. It'll be entertaining. It's the best sports book in the world, and it goes live in Illinois tomorrow.
I can't wait to see how well it does with the Barstool footprint in Chicago already too.
It's going to be great.
I mean, I think we're going to be number one.
We were great in Michigan, and I think we're probably stronger as a company in Illinois. Or at least that's just my uneducated opinion, looking at it from afar. Have you ever been to Chicago?
I have. I've been to Chicago a few times. I went to Wrigley Field and saw a Cubs series with my dad. And then I've been to some concerts at Chicago Theater. And I went to the Saints-Bears NFC Championship and froze my ass off in the snow in 2006.
I have never been to Chicago. It's one of the places I've never been to the state of Illinois. So I've never been to Chicago, and I am looking very forward. Of course, I'll be streaming the whole time I'm there. I won't really be able to.
Where are they
going
to do the streaming from? In Chicago, the casino?
They'll be at the casino there, I believe.
Chicago, it's Indiana.
Okay. So I'll be going to Chicago next week. I've never been there, and hopefully, like when the world opens up, if it opens up before the summer, one of my dreams is just get on a plane, take my wife, go to Wrigley for a day or two, enjoy that. Hopefully,
I feel like it's coming.
That becomes possible again very, very soon.
Oh yeah, no, it's a great thing. I'm sure your kids would love getting to.
But Chicago is a one of the great cities in this country. I've never been there, and I'm very, very excited.
Yeah, the Wrigley thing's I don't know. I thought it was amazing. I mean, the history.
Did you sit in the bleachers?
I sat in the bleachers, and one of my buddies, we were in college, tried to pick the ivy as a souvenir, and he almost got tossed. Like the second he tried to reach over and grab some of the ivy, he almost got tossed out of the game. They apparently that
seems dangerous. They got the basket in front.
Yeah, he's tall, but they don't like people messing with the ivy apparently.
Yeah, don't mess with the ivy.
No.
I would even think don't mess with the ivy.
Yeah. Well, he was 20 at the time, so I'm sure
Is he from the South?
Yeah.
Yeah. We see bushes, trees, and leaves, and we just think we got to have it. We're fascinated with bushes, trees, and leaves. Ever been riding in like a low or a topless vehicle, like a convertible or a Jeep, and you pass a tree close, and you've got to reach out and touch it? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
I do that all the time. Am I just the only redneck? All right, what else we got? So what's your gambling strategy you'd like to talk about?
Okay, so there was one thing that I noticed last week, and I'm going to try it as a gambling style. We're going to see today if it works. Last week, in the Atlantic 10 tournament specifically, all the teams that got the buys and played the teams that won the day before just beat the crap out of them. And
all the rested teams.
Yeah, and also you go against the teams that like UMass threw up 100 against St. Joe's randomly, and then everybody hopped on them the next day, and they got wiped out. And so today, I'm not messing with Duke Louisville. I'm not sure what to think of the Duke Louisville game, but I'm taking the rest of the teams that have buys. And so that's North Carolina, it's Notre Dame, it's Clemson, also against Miami, who I think's bad, even though I don't love late 9. But I'm looking for that as a strategy. The teams that get the buys and double buys and are rested, I'm thinking about trying to ride and see what happens.
So taking it home to the SEC tournament for tomorrow. So you have a couple games today, I believe. Or is there one game or two
it's
games?
Vandy, I think, because Auburn's not eligible.
Yeah, that's
messed
right.
Up the bracket.
That's right. So Vandy A&M today, whoever Vandy or A&M plays tomorrow, you're hopping on them.
Yes.
And then Friday, the teams with the double buys, you'll jump on them. Like
I think that's the thought.
Mississippi State plays Kentucky Thursday, and then Alabama's waiting for them.
Yeah, the winner plays Bama.
So you're going with the fresh teams.
I don't know. Kentucky, the Kentucky Bama we've talked about that one concerns me a little bit, but I don't know. I just think the teams with the buys and arrested, especially with the overreactions we live with. If a team that wins by like 30, you really get to go against them because then everybody's gonna talk themselves into it.
Yeah, it's overreaction season here in March, especially conference tournaments, because you don't really know. I'll use Michigan for an example. Michigan seems to be in a good spot for a number 1 seed, right? So does Illinois. You can't really prescribe motivation to these teams in these tournaments. And like the Big Ten, you've got so many teams capable of getting hot and winning that. If you've got Michigan versus an Ohio State again, like a couple of weeks ago, it was the biggest game in the world. But is there added motivation? Like is there something driving Ohio State that isn't driving Michigan at this point in the season? That is very possible, and it's hard to, as a gambler, figure out where to apply that and where to just go with your gut.
And honestly, when you talk about picking a national champion, I kind of like taking teams that lose in the conference tournament. I almost think it's good to lose and get remotivated.
I like that too.
Look at Tampa Bay in football. It's like that.
Well, I think it's good. I think it's good for it can work both ways. Like if you're an elite team, losing in the conference tournament is a nice readjustment, a refocus point. But if you're say you're 4 or 5 or 6 seed in the conference tournament, you're kind of down from that elite level. Making a run through the conference tournament and not losing and going and showing that you can win a conference tournament propels you into March. It propels you into the tournament. I remember, I hate to use this as an example because people will say we're just talking about our teams, but 1996, Mississippi State.
I saw that Dampier and
Mississippi State,
Dante Jones.
They entered the SEC tournament ranked number 25 in the country. Kentucky was number 1. They ran through the SEC tournament, beat the shit out of Kentucky to win it, and then they were off, and they went to the Final Four, and it was only a one bad game against Syracuse. They could have won the national title, but they got ignited by the SEC tournament run, whereas Kentucky, they were number 1. They lost in the SEC tournament. They got refocused. They won the national title.
Yeah, it is all about peaking at the right time, which is what concerns me. I know you've been talking about Ohio State, which is interesting because they've lost the 4 in a row, but they could refocus and get momentum. I worry about the teams that aren't peaking right now, I guess I'd say. But for the super elite teams, though, the ones that are 1 seeds already, I think losing the conference tournament isn't a big deal because they're already established as the 1. But it's like these 4 and 5s that are trying to catch fire and take off. Arkansas is interesting, Brandon, because they've won so many in a row. They were 1 and 4 in the SEC to start.
Yeah. We'll talk about Arkansas in a second. I have a question that's just taken me. I'm like a bird. My attention span gets taken quickly. Smitty version 2.0 says, Brandon, who is the greatest complimentary player to a superstar in NBA history? So I don't consider Pippen really a complimentary player. Yeah, that's the name
I think of too.
I don't consider him a complimentary player. I consider him a very, very necessary player. I consider him I think him and Jordan complemented each other. I think when we're talking about complimentary players, I think a McHale to a Bird or a Parrish to a McHale and Bird, maybe a James Worthy to Magic Johnson, just somebody to finish on the fast break. See, Pippen was a great I think Pippen's a very underrated player. Yeah, technically he made Jordan whole, but I don't think he complimented him.
I think
I'm trying to explain that distinction.
No, okay. Well, the guy I'm about to say strictly complimentary because of the role he played and how necessary he was. And I'm not saying he's one of the best players in the world, but what Draymond Green did for the Warriors because he was their physical guy.
A very good one.
No, because he's a physical guy. Everybody would bang up on Steph and Clay. And so he was necessary to be that tough guy, the FU guy edge to protect those guys and rebound and pass. And is he the greatest scorer? No. I mean, he's obviously not. But as far as you're talking about necessary compliment, they don't get there without him. They had to have him in those teams.
So I think of guys like Duncan was obviously the star, and I think Tony Parker was the engine. But
Manu.
But Ginobili complimented that whole thing and was well-rounded. So I don't – like Pippen I think was a 1-2 punch that if he's not a strong number 2 – he's the strongest number 2 in the history of basketball in my opinion. I don't see him as a complimentary player. Maybe I'm just like Kukoc. I think complimented both of those guys.
Yeah. Pippen was still a superstar.
Pippen was a superstar. That's what. And John Stockton and Karl Malone. No, Stockton was a star on his own. I don't think they work without each other. I don't. When I think complimentary player, I think somebody who is added to the mix, who takes an already great thing and just.
One in college basketball, I remember that strictly complimentary player, but those Florida teams we talked about yesterday, the one the 2 toss, Lee Humphrey. He never missed a 3-pointer.
Yeah.
And they had Torian Green and Horford and Noah.
Nobody remembers Lee Humphrey.
But he literally, I don't think I saw him miss an open 3 for 3 years.
Yeah, those Arkansas national championship teams, or they only have one, but they played for 2 national titles back in the 90s. They had Scotty Thurman and Corliss Williamson. They had a guy named Al Dillard who would shoot from the parking lot, who was just perfect for them. And he wasn't a great player, but they had the stars. They just needed somebody to push them up. Tayshaun Prince and the Pistons, that's not a bad one at all.
No, that team was more. That was because NBA is usually superstar teams win, but that Pistons team was kind of a sum.
Well, probably the last non-superstar driven. Well, I guess
they had Rip Hamilton and Chauncey Billups.
Yeah, I would say the 2011 Mavericks, they had 1 star, but they didn't have more than that. So they kind of fall in their own category. All right, Ben Wallace. I don't know. Ben Wallace was kind of the heart.
Yeah, he's a
soul of
great
that team,
compliment.
too.
Yeah, no, he was the complimentary thing, the blocks and rebounds.
That 2004 Pistons team is it should be studied because it was coming off the era where everybody pretended to be Jordan. Everybody thought you had to take the last second shot. You had to be selfish, and it was before the ball movement era that LeBron and Golden State kind of ushered in, and it was just the Lakers were ready to be knocked off. We just didn't know it, and the Pistons, here they come. They're tough. They play together, and they just got good players at every spot, not a great player at any spot.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me when the Raptors knocked off Golden State.
That's a very good one.
Yeah, but I mean, granted, Kawhi stepped up, and then Golden State had all the injuries, but it kind of felt like it was the end of that Lakers run, like it was the end of the Golden State run. It was kind of.
Speaking of runs, I'm not about to talk about diarrhea. I'm about to talk about horse racing.
All right.
That was a very good.
Do you like
segue.
going to the track, by the way?
What do you think?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
I want to go to Saratoga in New York in August.
Yeah, I think you and Dave should go.
Well,
Dave goes all the time.
Doesn't he? Yeah, he owns some horses.
Yeah, you should go. You Mincy and Dave go to the track.
I'm scared though because every time I'm around him, he thinks I'm his bad luck gambling charm. So I'm not sure I'd last very long at the track.
That's not a good spot to be in.
No.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right, so finally, horse racing has a contest worth playing. Stable Duel brings more action with this fantasy-style game where you can play against others for big money payouts. This isn't just showing up at the track and picking an exacta or a trifecta or anything like that. This is a fantasy-style game where you get online and you pick out your horses. You fill out your stable of horses. Very similar to fantasy football. You select your stable of 10 horses, watch the points rack up. There's daily games with big cash prizes, easy to use even if you're new to the sport. You understand fantasy sports, right? Even if you don't understand the ins and outs of horse racing, you know what you're looking for in fantasy sports. That's what this is. Download the Stable Duel app now. Start playing right out of the gate. That's the Stable Duel app. StableDuel app. Check it out wherever you get your apps. You'll love Stable Duel.
Pen's big on the horse racing too.
Oh,
Penn is.
Yeah. I work for Penn. I like Penn.
Oh, I do too.
I enjoy Penn.
Oh yeah, as do I.
Yeah.
As do I. Looking forward to checking out some of these the Colorado.
I'm very
properties.
jealous. I'd love to go out to Colorado myself. I'll be in Chicago next week, but you're going to Colorado. You're going to the Blackhawk out there west of Denver, right?
Yeah, so it's 30 miles west of Denver, but I've been going out there to play poker since 2012, and that Ameristar Blackhawk's an unbelievable property. It's beautiful. Blackhawk's like a old mining west town that they've made into casinos, but it's in the mountains, and it's like I said, it's only 30 miles west. Can't wait. They got a new $1 million Barstool Sports book, and I'm not sure what ideas we're going to do. I think maybe do like live shows 20, 30 minutes before the games, breaking them down. We're going to do all kinds of stuff, try some stuff, but can't wait to check it out. And we'll have to go to Mississippi, Louisiana sometime with Penn too. We got a ton of
Yeah, no, I know. I actually had a pre-existing relationship with the Hollywood out in Tunica before I got hired by Barstool, before the deal with Penn. So I'm anxious to get back and do that. Okay, so I've never been to Colorado though either. I've never been to Chicago. I've never been to Colorado, and I love big, wide open spaces, big sky. I'd love to. I'm sure I would do well out there.
Yeah, you would. No, you'd love. It's just the going out west thing. The air's the thin air. It's crisp. It's I've enjoyed my time in New York so far, but during COVID, man, I come to work, I go to the gym, I get to go food, and I go home and I do the damn thing the next day.
I want to go somewhere.
I'm ready to get out.
I want to go somewhere warm. I want to go somewhere where the women flock like the salmon of Capistrano.
Well, I hope they do for me in Denver. We'll see.
I want to. What's the? I'm talking about a place called Aspen.
Dumb and Dumber, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, Lloyd. The French are assholes. I love that movie.
I do too.
We were talking
so
about.
You're telling me there's a chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance. Oh, maybe it's on the suitcase. Oh, Samsonite. I was way off. Ah, that's so fucking funny.
I'm gonna have to go watch it later. That's one of my favorites.
Don't leave now because I need you for the show.
I'm not going anywhere. Although NC State looks like they're not doing. Boeheim's sons.
This was my. So I had a couple of bad weeks. A couple of weeks ago, really bad weeks, and I was struggling. So last night, I got on Gonzaga live, -2.5 when they were down 9 or they were down 11, and I got on them and I put a pretty good chunk because I was like, I need to start building. I need to start building right now for March, and it hit. And now I did the same thing here. I was either going to really build or just kind of chill out. And if Syracuse -2.5 hits, which they're off to a good start, we're starting to position ourselves for March. You can't just jump onto the field to play, okay? You got to do some spring training. You got to get ready, and I'm getting ready.
No, I like hearing your momentum. I feel like I was real hot the last couple of weeks, but a lot of it had to do with the home court stuff, catching people as home underdogs and stuff. And so I've got to adjust these neutral floors, which is kind of different games and a different world. It's like the Barstool way. It's funny, though. I mean, obviously, when we're hot, we're going to chirp about it. That's what we do at Barstool. But I feel like every time I go on a gambling stretch and get hot and start running my mouth, it just the gambling gods just they hear it and they come for you. But I'm still going to run my mouth.
By the way, I'm looking at the chat and they're just typing in Dumb and Dumber lines, and so I'm just enjoying this. Pull over. No, it's a cardigan, but thanks for asking. Yeah, I just
the shaggin' wagon.
Are you want to get something to eat? No, I swallowed a big June bug on the highway. All right.
Did you have any long shot conference tournament teams you liked?
No, I didn't take any long shots. I do like Kentucky plus 1,500, which I guess is a long shot. It feels like cheating because it's Kentucky. I don't really believe they're going to win it, but I just can't not take them.
You could hedge it if they got to the finals.
Yeah, I just can't. I can't not take them because it's Kentucky. Any home field advantage, any home court advantage will be to them. Because the Kentucky fans, if they start sensing momentum, they're going to flock to Nashville. It's not far anyway.
No,
and
Tennessee's kind of open to it.
They'll take over. They'll take over that arena, whatever is available in it. So if they can, and it sucks because you know who they play first. They play Mississippi State. So
I can see State winning, but if Kentucky does win, that could be a problem for
right. If Kentucky wins, then they got Alabama. Well, if you win your second game against Alabama, you've now eliminated one of the two favorites.
And then the Florida-Tennessee 5-4.
I think you become
that's the weak part of the bracket.
I think if Kentucky beats Alabama, they become the favorite to win the tournament. And if you're telling me I can have plus 1,500 on somebody who can become the favorite on the second day, because I love Arkansas, I love Must Bus, but if Kentucky gets rolling downhill, it's going to be hard to stop that boulder. They're going to be a snowball, and they're going to be by the time
they're playing for their tourney life too.
By the time they get to Sunday, they're going to be a gigantic ball of wreckingness.
What do you think of this? So Barstool Sportsbook boosted Arkansas from plus 320 to plus 420 to win the SEC tourney. Is taking Arkansas plus 420 and Kentucky plus 15 to 1, and you're really cheering against Bama if you do it. But does that have merit? You think?
I think it has a lot of merit. I think it has a lot of merit.
You're getting good odds.
I don't 100% believe in Alabama either.
I don't either. I just they seem like as good as they've been, they peaked already. They had that they had that incredible run.
That ESPN game against LSU where they scored like 9,000 points.
Yeah,
I felt like that was the peak of Alabama this year. And it's really not fair because I think they were 14-2 at one point in the SEC. And they're really, really good. I
feel like they peaked.
I feel like they peaked.
And then Arkansas handled them. They kind of snuck by some games. I know they had the ugly win against State at the end. I don't know. I mean, I think that Nate Oates done a great job. I'm not saying he hadn't. I mean, he's been incredible, but I feel like Arkansas is a more dangerous team heading to the tourney.
Jeez, look at the butt on that. Yeah, he must work out. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lloyd.
Oh, I love the Stoolies.
I have a question that I was looking at football. We're going to switch real quick to some NFL football because yesterday we talked about Dak Prescott getting his money. We won't talk about that very much, but
his middle name is Rain, though, which I think is funny. I saw a headline. Old beat reporter I know said Dak Prescott makes it rain. R-A-Y-N-E was the headline. I thought that was good. Shout out Roy Lang.
Nobody's more clever than beat writers. So here's the thing about so Dak is signed, and he is now he's been their franchise quarterback, but now he's locked in for 4 years. Philadelphia is somebody that's looking for a franchise quarterback, and it appears that their decision makers are all in, and they're getting behind. They've told all their draft people, everything. Everything is about Jalen Hurts being our franchise quarterback from here on out. That's who they've hitched their wagon to. They traded Carson Wentz, and now here they are. Jalen Hurts is the guy in Philadelphia. They're not looking to draft. Do you believe Jalen Hurts can be a franchise quarterback in the NFL?
I think you can win with them. Franchise quarterback is a strong statement, but the thing about the NFL is when you have the guys on the rookie contract and you save the $30 or $35 million, if you properly allocate that and load up the rest of your roster, it can work.
Well, that was the opportunity that Dallas had, and they kind of botched it by giving Zeke as much money as they gave him because they had Dak on the rookie contract for 4 years, and he was a Pro Bowl quarterback 2 of those 4 years, but they didn't win anything. He won 1 playoff game, but Philly – yeah, if you can get a good young quarterback, and if
that's what the Seahawks did when they got Wilson,
and if the Chargers can turn things around quickly with a new coach, they could do it because they're pretty good. Their roster's pretty good, and they're going to have a cheap quarterback.
That's a huge edge, especially these quarterbacks being the salary cap's going to be $182 million next year. These quarterbacks are getting $35 to $40 million. I mean, if you're saving that much at one position, I mean, if you're a good roster manager, that's a way to at least not maybe build a solid team.
I don't think Jalen Hurts can be a franchise quarterback. I don't think he can throw well enough. I think he can be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I don't think he can be a top half starting quarterback in the NFL. I don't think he can get over like the 16th best. I didn't see it at Alabama. They won in spite of him, and I didn't see it at Oklahoma when he put up huge numbers against a pillow fight league.
He's got that, like, all the characteristics you want. So I think Philly will like him
Now,
because he's tough and he's a fighter and he's going to run hard.
seems
He's going
like
to be
a
a
hell
leader.
of a leader.
Everybody will play for him. Like I said, I just worry about him getting to like his third and fourth reads and all that kind of stuff as a pocket passer. But I think, if they surround him with the right talent, they can win with him. Now, franchise quarterback-wise, I'm not sure I'm willing to go that far.
Smitty 2.0 again. Apparently, he knows my kryptonite. He knows how to just put things out there that make me look at it and go, oh, greatest movie cameo by an athlete? Greatest movie cameo by an athlete. I don't know that I love the movie, but LeBron James was hilarious in Trainwreck. I was trying to think. Feels like there were actual golfers in Happy Gilmore. But I guess Bob Barker had the best cameo in Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, he did.
Great. I'd love to see some suggestions here.
I would too. I'm kind of I'm thinking in my head. There's so many.
LeBron and Trainwreck is the one I think of immediately because
that's a little better than Shaq and Kazam.
I would say that. Although that wasn't a cameo because that was his movie.
Yeah, that was his movie. That doesn't count. You're thinking of cameos.
39-30 now.
Syracuse I liked what Tom
with
Brady was playing.
lead.
It's not a movie, but Tom Brady playing golf in Entourage with Turtle was kind of funny. I thought that was funny.
I didn't watch Entourage much.
I
just every time they'd show the titty, I'd turn it off. So I only made it like 3 minutes into every episode. What? Am I the only one? TJ.
Only making it 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I see a titty. 3 minutes is my limit. Hey, this is fun. Oh, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Airplane. Airplane, one of my favorite movies. Dan Marino and Ace Ventura.
That was a good one.
MJ in Space
Jam. That's
not
Ventura,
a cameo.
Favre was in Ace Ventura too, right?
I don't think so.
Oh, no. He was in something about
Marino.
Mary. He was in something about Mary. He was in something about Mary.
Kareem in the Bruce Lee movie.
Kareem in Airplane is the peak of Kareem, though.
He's a good actor.
You ever seen Airplane?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Airplane's one of my favorite
Boobs
movies.
in that movie, too. Nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen it in a long time. I need to rewatch it.
Don't Call Me Shirley.
I didn't. I didn't know. Okay. Roger. What's our vector, Victor? Over. Oh, God. Okay. All right. Now I'm just doing movies. Okay. Let's talk about Body Armor Edge. I'm looking at the Power Punch, the Berry Blitz. I am somebody who needs nutrients in my life, and I need it very often. I often get depleted. I am bombed out and depleted, just like that suit. So it is March Madness time. We're making up for last year's tourney not happening by going bigger and harder this year. And that is not a penis joke, although it could turn into one. Our favorite sports drink, Body Armor, I'm drinking their water right now, came out with a new sports drink in caffeine called Edge. It's got 100 milligrams of caffeine, 1,000 milligrams of electrolytes to keep you going through the last buzzer or finish line. It's got antioxidants, B vitamins, and no artificial sweeteners, which usually sounds like something I'm not going to drink, but it is fantastic. It is delicious, and it keeps me healthy. I like that. I appreciate it. You like it?
I like the idea of everything being harder and heavier with this. I think people are more grateful for March Madness after we didn't have it last year.
Yeah, it really is. I'll get to that in a second,
okay.
but I got to talk more about this Body Armor Edge. They got the Power Punch, the Berry Blitz. They got the Tropical Chaos, which is tropical punch flavor, and Orange Frenzy, which is what's happening in the Syracuse game right now.
Higher scoring than expected.
Thank you. Anyway, go to drinkbodyarmor.com to learn more about this fantastic drink. It is fantastic. If you like shitty brands like Monster, you like Red Bull, you need this Body Armor Edge. It is better. It tastes better. It's healthier. Check them out. Again, to learn more, go to drinkbodyarmor.com. All right. What else? Thoughts on Houston in the tournament? Can they hold their own? Ty Baker?
I'm a little.
I don't believe in Houston.
I would
either.
say, okay, so I did some research on them, and the thing that made them great this year is they're holding teams to like 36% field goals from the field. But that's because they play a bunch of crappy teams.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, like, I just don't.
I've never heard that tone that you just used. Okay. That was the most normal sounding I've ever heard you.
Okay.
Did you mean to do it?
I don't know. I don't really know what happened. I just was talking.
He just turned into a regular dude for a second. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just feel like their thing is they play great defense against bad teams, but they had a lot of trouble scoring against Memphis. That like worried me down low. They couldn't get shots up because of their length and athleticism. And I'm starting to worry about Houston. Like, you know, if they were in the Big 12, you know, they would just be at, you know, what, like middle of the pack?
Yeah.
Something like that. And I feel like they're just there because the AAC's so good. I'm not saying they're trash.
I don't believe
they
in
might
them
make the Sweet 16.
I don't believe in them either. Something about them just seems a little bit off for me.
Their athleticism advantage is huge.
Which means they're probably going to the Final Four.
Yeah, true.
So it's 12:45. I didn't realize we were this far into the show. We must be having a good-ass show.
Always, man. I appreciate you having me in here. It's fun with the Mississippi takeover here in New York.
All right, we've already washed our balls enough
That's
on this
true.
thing.
All right, we need some picks.
Let me give some picks.
Gambling picks.
I'm going to give some picks. I believe I had the best night last night, even though
I'm looking at it. You definitely did.
I only went 2-2. Oh, last night was a disaster. It was a show disaster. I think. Where are we at?
You're in first. You passed me for first.
I'm in first place,
I'm in
but
second.
he's not here. But Big Ev went 0-7.
Yeah, that's
0-7 is like, it's been done multiple times on the show. I've done it twice.
I've done it once.
I've had multiple 7-0 days, multiple 0-7 days, and then Big Ev just throws out an 0-7. And Mincy was 0-4.
And my thing that makes me mad at myself was I was just preaching, like, I'm not going to play much Monday, I'm not going to play much Tuesday, and then I take these small school games that I don't know a lot about, and I just get killed.
So me and Marty had the best days. I went 2-2, he went 2-2. The rest of the show went 2-15.
And Clubhouse went 2-13.
And the Clubhouse went 2-13.
It was a team.
God
effort.
knows why we still involve those people. But I've got about 15 picks from them today. I'll get to them in a second.
The Cal State Northridge one you were talking about got beat by 21 too yesterday. You were saying.
They didn't count it? Oh, they called a foul. What an alley. It was a fucking alley-oop right at the end of the half, and they called a foul or a timeout right before it. What happened here? What was it, shot clock? Might have been a shot clock.
What?
You got to shoot it, man.
Nope, didn't get it up.
That's so pathetic.
Feel like I'm lucky. NC State only been down 5 here. Syracuse has been
It's
dominating.
not 5, is it?
It's 43-38. Syracuse has been dominating this first half.
No, that's not the score. Don't tell me that's the score. God.
You're telling me there's a chance.
If he hits that from the other side of okay. All right, 43-38 at half. All right, so I was 2-2 last night. I'm 23-18 overall. I'm in first place. I'm up 5 units. Ben Metz, the Mississippi boys are leading the way. You're up 3.7 units. Marty Mush in third, down 3 units. Rico down 6.7 units. That's probably why his contract hasn't kicked in and he doesn't cross the bridge because he's losing. Big Ev down 6.75 units, and Big Cat, who was once on the show, is down 8.15 units. Again, Clubhouse was 2-13 yesterday, down 11 units. You motherfuckers, you're making me look bad. All right, I got Syracuse minus 2.5 against NC State. That is happening right now. I did give it out at the beginning of the show before it started, so I got that. I got Arizona money line. They're 1-point favorites over Washington State tonight. Sienna.
That's Arizona State, I think.
I'm sorry, did I say Arizona?
Yeah, I said Arizona.
I apologize. It's Arizona State. It's money line. It's -1 on the book against Washington State. Sienna money line against Iona. Louisville money line. They're 2-point dogs right now over Duke. I think they win that game. Everybody wants to ascribe these things to Duke. They want to say it's Duke, it's this, it's that. And I realize I said it about other teams earlier, but at the end of the day, this Duke team isn't good. They're not good. So if you want to bet them because they're Duke, go ahead. I'm not going to do it because it's Louisville too. I mean, they've got a great name. I think Louisville wins that game.
That 2.5-point line is always a weird one too.
Texas A&M money line against Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt's slight favorites because of the home court advantage that's perceived that won't actually be there. Georgetown down. They're 3-point dogs to Marquette. I think they're going to win the game. Georgetown money line against Marquette. And in the NBA, Grizzlies minus 3.5.
Oh, NBA's back tonight? I didn't realize. I thought it was tomorrow.
No, it's.
I'm about to look it up.
Yeah, you should probably look that up.
I didn't realize that. I apologize.
Look,
2 games.
Look into the National Basketball Association. They got uniforms and everything. It's really neat. All right.
I have a comment about that Georgetown pick.
Looks like
ahead.
TJ's got a comment.
Let's hear it.
Marquette basketball team is warming up in a New York City public park.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Ooh.
Wait, are they playing in the Garden?
It's the Big East tournament. isn't
Okay,
it?
so that means they should be. That public park is probably like right around here. We should go talk to them. We should go say hi. It's got to be close.
Are you gonna go sabotage their teams?
It's probably that park that Big Ev and Jetski played at. We walked to it. It's about 3 blocks away. Played at last year.
You think Woj has them slapping the floor at the park?
Maybe. I don't know. There's not a good park around here.
Yeah, I don't know where they are.
Oh, they could be anywhere, I guess. They could be like a Rucker Park. That'd be a cool place to work out.
It looks like they're like on the water.
I got to admire the creativity.
So they're over by the Hudson then.
Yeah.
Anyway,
looks like it.
go ahead. Go ahead, Ben.
I was going to say I got Georgetown too. I took Georgetown +3, kind of just Thought it's a pick'em game that could go either way, so give me the 3 points. Same thing I did with NC State, Syracuse. My other plays were the teams with buys, that strategy I was telling you about. Clemson laying 9, which is a lot. I think Miami sucks. I think both Miami and Pitt are bad. And now you're catching them on a back-to-back. It's a good spot to go against them. Took Penn State by 6.5 over Nebraska. I think Penn State's better than their record. Nebraska's best players out. They had the big win over Rutgers, but other than that, they've been terrible. North Carolina by 6.5 against Notre Dame, going with the fresh team. And I also took Xavier by 6.5 over Butler, just because Butler's got all freshmen this year, and Xavier's got a lot of tournament experience. But
yeah,
that's probably my 6th pick, to be honest.
One thing I worry about with that Nebraska, I stayed away. Nebraska's covered both times against Penn State, I
Have
believe.
they?
I don't know if there's just a matchup issue there, but maybe it goes the other way this time. It just scared me off. I looked at Penn State. I was like, I like it. I like Penn State as a basketball team, but Nebraska's covered twice against them. So something is there that I can't see. Do we have the picks for everybody else?
I texted you the graphics.
You texted them to me. Yes, you did. Sure did. Thank you very much. So I will dive into everybody's picks right now. I'll read them very quickly. Rico, too scared to come across the bridge, has Syracuse -2.5, Marquette -3, and Providence -7. Marty, who's out there faking his way around life, Duke -2, Miami +9, Arizona State -1, Penn State -6.5, Stanford -6, NC State +3, Marquette -3, Providence -7, and North Carolina -6.5. Big Ev, 0-7 yesterday. NC State +3, Marquette -3.5, Duke -2, Bucknell +11, Penn State -6, UNC Notre Dame over 149.5, Iowa State +11.5, and Washington State +1. Those are all of those picks. I will run very, very, very quickly through the clubhouse. Playboy Marty has walked in here to distract me, and I don't like it at all, and your hair is ridiculous. Do you have the biggest dip in that I've ever seen right now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so we got Mark in Philly has Florida Atlantic +4 against UTEP. We got Christian Bone UNC -6.5. Lee Holbert, Iowa State +12.5 in the Big 12 tournament. Stephen Pancrazio, Clemson -9 against Miami. Josh Karaskakis, Nebraska +6.5 against Penn State. Neil Williamson, Dallas Mavericks -4 tonight. Joshua Berry, UTEP -4 against Florida Atlantic. And Rice Marshall over 156 in Conference USA tournament. JL D'Alessandro, Louisville +2 and over 141 in the Duke game. Carter Ball, NC State money line in the game that we're actually watching right now. Justin Schutzman, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Jackson State over 125.5. That's a degenerate pick right there. Brandon Reef, Butler Xavier under 133.5. Brandon Webb, Avs in regulation -120. Austin Hansen, Miami +9 against Clemson. Rob Bohm, Liverpool money line +135. Arsenal tomorrow +125. Tom Wright and Za have the same picks. Liverpool money line and Barcelona money line today in the Champions League. I know all about the Champions League. It's not the Premier League. It's a different league, apparently. Houston Greenberg says Oregon +310 to win the Pac-12 tournament. I kind of liked his rationale there, too.
Yeah, no, they get hot every year in March.
Kevin, last name I wrote too fast, says Oklahoma -11.5. Brandon Johnson, my mother's maiden name was Johnson, so if I would have been named Brandon Johnson if she
would have been fitting.
if she were a whore. Xavier -6.5 against Butler, Minnesota +2.5, and Penn State -6.5 against Nebraska. MK wins Wild -105 money line, Kings -125, Canucks +130. Alex Wander, Washington State money line against Arizona State, and Andrew Putnam +115 against Matt Kuchar in the TPC. Dylan Furman, Songa and Humbert over 22.5 games in tennis. Brian DeRozier's NC State money line, and Ben Delbrick, Miami first half money line. They get a little ridiculous towards the end. How many people do y'all need in that room? Good God. There's 6.5 people in that room right now.
They're tailgating. They're loving the show, you know.
A lot going on back here.
I'm thinking about I'm debating adding Iowa State +550 money line with how Oklahoma's collapsed down the stretch. Iowa State's been fighting people. They played close to Baylor. Oklahoma's lost like 5 in a row. Could they just completely no show here and randomly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm debating it. If there's a long shot money line flyer, that may be it. 5.5 to 1 is pretty good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Ferrone has entered the building. Roan is in the building. The Yak boys are assembling. The Yak is getting ready to go off in mere moments.
Illinois launch too.
The sports book?
Yeah, tomorrow, right? Isn't it?
Right, yeah. Oh, I thought you said it happened during the show. I was
No,
like,
it's tomorrow.
what? Tomorrow, Chicago, Champaign, Joliet, Decatur, Springfield, other cities in Illinois, Rockford. That's a real peach of a city. Get ready tomorrow.
Carbondale. Salukis. Southern Illinois is there.
Tomorrow, Barstool Sportsbook app goes live. It's the best app in the world. Goes live at noon, March 11th in Illinois. We're coming, Chicago. Get ready. The Yak is up next.